again, mask collectors, horror movie watchers, and other Halloween fans. Today's episode of Creepy Cheapies with Dr. Lady is brought to you by our new sponsor, the Acme Bulletproof Glass Company, makers of the original bulletproof glass, the product that gives new meaning to the term shot glass. Today's mask here on Creepy Cheapies with Dr. Lady, and did I mention that I was Leonard Bernstein? Yeah. Today's mask here on Creepy Cheapies with Leonard Bernstein is one from the Ghoulish Productions lineup of 2000, was it 18 or 19? 19? Okay, the mask says he's from 19. It's this guy, just called Nightmare. How scary is that? Now, a lot of masks have been called Nightmare before, not just the ones from Nightmare on Elm Street or Nightmare Before Christmas, but there have been masks just called Nightmare. In fact, a few years ago, Ghoulish Productions had a demon that they just called Nightmare. And way back in the 1980s, the Don Post Studios collection from the movie American Werewolf in London had one of the demons dubbed simply Nightmare. Specifically that bald guy who goes like this. That guy. He was just called Nightmare in the Don Post catalog for some reason. But anyway, this one, if you want to make sure you're getting the right mask and narrow down the choices when you're shopping for masks called Nightmare, this one is actually also called the Creepypasta Nightmare. That's right. Now, when I first heard that, I thought there must be a story, a creepypasta story online about this particular monster, and I looked and I couldn't find one, and I didn't see any images of him and wasn't sure what his story was. But turns out he isn't based on a specific creepypasta story. He's just something designed by the folks at Ghoulish Productions to look like he would be out of a creepypasta. So he was a mask before he was a story. In other words, the mask was just made to be a creepypasta monster. And what a great one he is. Simplicity itself, and yet very creepy and very fun, right? If there was ever a mask that looked like I designed it from one of my drawings, well, that would be probably a bunch of them. But this could have been one. This looks kind of like my, okay. Let's get a little closer here. How cool is that? Almost looks like a drawing by either Edward Gorey or Charles Adams, or, you know, has kind of an old school vibe to it. I love the fact that he's black and white. That's creepy. And I don't know if you can see this, but just so you know, the eye cuts, okay, are along the inner expanses of the eyes toward the center of his face. That's a face? Yeah. And some of the eye cuts on these are kind of unfortunate because some of them are pretty obvious. So you might need to take some black black paint or makeup or something and smudge around there and, you know, neaten that up depending on the copy you get. These guys are super cheap, I think. Neighborhood of 35 to 40 to 45 bucks, right? So like $40 would be pretty normal for this guy. And if there's anybody that knows normal, it's me. And as you can see, he's got big shiny eyes and big shiny teeth. And as you may not be able to see, he's done in the style of Zagoni or Be Something Studios masks. We take the very expensive piece of cardboard carpet tubing out of him here for the moment so that we can show you. The rubber just comes about halfway. You see that? The rubber just is the face, and then he's on a sort of fur hood that makes up the back of the head. One thing that's really cool about this one, the bottom, okay, the bottom of the mask is elasticized, which means it has a piece of elastic sewn into it. And no, my wife did not add that. It came like that, which is cool because when you put it on, you see it stretches out for you to put it on, and then it tightens back up into shape a little bit better. So it's not like a big baggy executioner hood. It's more like a mask of maybe a gorilla or a werewolf. It kind of has that look. They do have a costume that you can get to go with him that has, I think it has fingerless gloves, and it's mostly gray fabric with some patches of black hair. Alternately, if you can't find that, you know what I would use with him is probably a black fur gorilla suit that has, you know, the same kind of acrylic fur, or fun fur as costumers call it. I would use a plain black gorilla suit that's just a fur jumpsuit, and maybe add gray rubber monster hands, and then maybe add some chains or some tatters or some kind of detailing to it. So you could always do that. Or since he isn't from a movie or a book or anything like that and doesn't have to have a specific look, he could wear anything. He could be wearing an outfit like I'm wearing right now, or you know, most anything. He could be wearing a hoodie with the hood pulled up. Would be kind of cool if he looked like a normal guy from behind and then he turned around and, you know, took the hood down and this was what was underneath. But again, there is no official story for Creepypasta Nightmare, so we may have to make up our own. And it's so scary thinking about those creepypastas. Oh, it's so scary when you think about them. It almost makes everything seem like it's getting all grainy and flickery and losing color, getting all dark and black and white and shadowy and spooky. Just thinking about what could the origin of a horrible thing like this possibly be. Imagine him lurking out of the shadows, lurching forward with his spooky hands and his big enthusiastic smile, and the fact that he looks a bit on the hungry side. What could he possibly be? Well, it could be that he was the product of a little boy's twisted imagination, okay? Could be that he started life as a child's drawing, and I'm already off to a bad start because drawings aren't technically alive, but I'm sticking to it. He could have started out as a child's drawing, a lonely and misunderstood and isolated and frightened little boy, little Stevie McStupidface. Now, little Stevie McStupidface, he was one of the Omaha McStupidfaces, okay, from Nebraska, and little Stevie McStupidface was not treated kindly at school by the other children. They were very mean to him, and they made terrible, cruel fun of his name, because to them Stevie sounded like a girl's name. As unlikely as it seems, all the children were aware of Stevie Nicks and were fans of hers and her music, and they made fun of little Stevie McStupidface. And little Stevie McStupidface stayed in his room a lot and drew strange monsters, and he kept drawing this thing. He drew a picture of this, and it was so scary. His parents didn't know what to make of it. So, being good American, typical average parents, they ignored the problem completely and went back to watching cat videos online and playing video games and ignored it. But the drawing that the little boy made of this scary image that nobody could understand, that drawing slipped down between the couch cushions on the couch in the living room, down between the arm of the couch and the first couch cushion. The drawing went down in there, and everybody forgot about it. And over time, the drawing was all caught up in bits of things sticking to it, like little loose cornflakes and peanut shells and popcorn husks and unpleasant things like that. The occasional candy wrapper, possibly even a cigarette from a visiting uncle that had been dropped carelessly into the couch, and old clippings from newspapers and junk like that, old magazines and junk mail that nobody read. All those things slid down into the couch, in the darkness of the couch, under the couch cushions, where the drawing of this evil, mysterious face was also crunched up for ages while people sat on the couch watching dumb stuff on their televisions. And well, with all that exposure to the dust and dirt and lint and cobwebs and junk that slid down the couch, and $1.43 in change that dropped down into the couch. Well, eventually a strange thing happened, and all that stuff sort of coalesced together and formed its own weird sort of malign intelligence left over from the troubled child's imagination when he drew the nightmare monster. And it is said that this monster can teleport from one couch to another. He could be under the cushions of the couch in your house at any time, because if you have stuff like little grains of cereal and peanut shells and popcorn husks and all that down between the couch cushions, and $1.43 in change that fell down there, eventually it could all sort of meld together into the shape of the nightmare monster. And if he gets his hands on you, what he does, he reaches up from under the couch cushion where you're sitting, and he grabs you and pulls you down into the couch with him, and then you have to read him all the dumb junk mail and newspaper clippings and such that were stuck in the couch, and he makes you stay down there in the couch cushions and read him all those old newspaper clippings. And it's a fate worse than life without creepy cheapies, believe me. But that's the story we're going with for today for him. But what a great mask. He's fun and he's scary and he's easy to costume, and he's about $40. So I say add a creepypasta nightmare rather, to the mask collection or the haunted house if you are so inclined. And remember, until next time, clean out that couch before next week, will you please?